Hey guys, it's Kat here. Today I'm gonna talk about the best animes of 2021. I watched almost all animes of 2021, and I chose 25 of the best ones. Some of them I only watched the first 3 episodes, so I won't spoil them too much for you guys. This is probably my longest video so far, so consider leaving a like and subscribing. I put the timestamps too if you want to skip to an anime you like. So let's get started! First, I'm gonna start with this I revived as a slime, but not really anime. It's like the depressed version of it. Fumetsu no Natae, or To Your Eternity, is about this rock that from time to time, when something happens, turns into another thing. The story has a narrator, like the person who created the rock narrating about how it learned to walk as a wolf, to eat, having sensorial sensations and such. And I thought the pace of this anime really slow, not too thrilling. It's more like showing the feelings of the rock and now as a boy. However, this was the first episode, and the rock wolf transforms into a boy too. So if you're interested in a story like that, then go for it. Yeah, a lot happened in the episode, but it feels dragged, tiring even, at least for me. After dying from overworking, this girl meets a strange goddess that could be as crazy as Aqua or Restarter. But she doesn't show much later, she just grants any wish the girl may have, like being forever 17 and immortal. Okay, maybe she's a little crazy. And so she decides to take life at ease this time, just killing slimes every day and selling items. As the title suggests, 300 years passed by until the guild lady asks to check her stats, and see she's max level already. Just from killing slimes for 300 years. Yes, they did the math, it's possible. And word gets out that she's strong, so people start challenging her, first some adventures and then even a dragon. The anime has a really fresh and slice of life feeling, it's not really a shonen. It's less intense than Boku, for example. Now, from the creators of Konosuba, there's Sentouin Hakenshimasu. Yeah, it has its comedy, but it's not as fun as Konosuba, at least until now. The starting plot is that there's this strange organization that has to send someone to save this world, and the main character, soldier number 6, named Roku, which means 6 in Japanese, is sent with this little girl called Alice. She's not really a girl, but a robot that even has a bomb inside with the power to explode a city or more. It seems like he used to collect points from evil deeds, and now he can use them to get things teleported to him, and that's how he gets a shotgun for Alice. They meet this other girl because it's not an isekai without a harem, she's the god's Captain Snow. I think she was meant to be like Aqua, a little desperate and useless, and they start working for the princess against the Demon Lord's army. I hoped it would be more funny, but it gets a little better with time. Well, I've already talked about this anime when it first aired, and we already got 2 seasons worth of episodes now. And yes, this anime is really worth watching as people are so hyped about it. This guy, Rudeus, revived as a baby but kept all his memories of his previous life of being a shut-in, but he ends up learning magic, getting confident and eventually even getting over his shut-in fears, going outside to the world. First as a teacher for Ares, but as things happen, they get teleported to another country and their adventure begins against a foreign country, monsters and even strange people. It's a really good anime and in my opinion maybe the best anime of 2021. Now another anime from the same creator of a famous anime, Eden Zero is the new work of Hiro Mashima, creator of Fairy Tail. But this time it's not really magic, even though they say the main character's power is a Magic power. Also the fights are really cool, everyone has a type of magic and Shik's gravitational magic makes some really good fighting scenes. Pretty much like Fairy Tail started, this girl is traveling and ends up meeting a strange boy that wants to be friends with her. And they look a lot like Fairy Tail characters. I mean, Shik looks just like Natsu, Rebecca looks just like Lucy, and Happy, well, looks like Happy. I think the creativity stopped there. Anyway, she's a big cuber. It's like a YouTuber, but the platform is called Big Cube. And she's filming her travel to this robot park called Granbell. And after a lot of problems with the robots, they run away to her ship, but it's a spaceship. And it wasn't a robot park, it was a robot planet. So the adventures will be going through different worlds. Rebecca to make her videos, and Shiki to make 100 friends. And they want to travel to the outer space too to find some special treasure. Where did they see this before? So in this futuristic world, there are tons of AIs. They keep calling AI, but I call them robots. The robots had problems with having multiple missions, so it was decided each robot would have only one mission, one purpose. And the main character is this robot called Diva. Her mission is to sing and make everyone happy. But this little girl called her Vivy. That's why the name of the anime ended up being Vivy. Anyway, no one ever comes to watch her sing, as she doesn't sing from her heart. And one day, a program for 100 years in the future appears. He enters her teddy bear robot and says his mission is to help her save the world. As the AIs will evolve more and more and kill not only the humans but themselves too. To convince her, he tells her that a bomb will explode and kill a politician. So she goes and saves him, and the bomb was real. He tells other things too, like if he died there would be a law making the robots more free and in some years rebel over mankind. Okay, I'll read the manga and watch this anime, and it's actually funny.
もう一度聞くけど、職業は専業主婦です。
But the anime is not that well animated. As you can see, some parts is just the image stopped, and the sound of them talking on top of it. The story is about this ex-Yakuza guy, Tatsu, who now lives as a house husband. He does everything a housewife does, as cleaning, going to buy groceries and such. But he ends up meeting other Yakuza and getting in trouble with them. It's funny because some of them is not Yakuza anymore, but has the aura, and the way of acting and talking of a Yakuza. People keep misunderstanding their intentions because of that. But Tatsu sometimes deserves it, as he says some things like a Yakuza, but it's actually about normal things.
なら任してくんな。
姉さん、今日は
例のあれかい？
はい。見てみ。スタンプラリーの完成。
Everyone was talking about this anime, even though the clips you see from it is mostly this girl bullying this boy. But it's not so harsh as pushing him in the river, that was just an accident. Naoto is a second-year shy boy who likes to draw art and manga too, and suddenly gets involved with Nagatoro, a Gyaru girl. Oh, Gyaru is how they pronounce girl, but I mean as a style Gyaru, where the girl is standing. She's constantly bugging him, calling him shy, a pervert or something like that. But he sees that she's only interested in him when he sees her by chance in a restaurant and sees how cold she is to other guys. It's a little slice of life anime, even though she's always with that mug face and annoying him. I'd say you need to watch at least one episode to see if it's the type of anime that you like or not. So when you think VR MMO, you may think SAO, Overlord, Log Horizon or the good old Dot Hack. But this one is really strange. As the title says, this full dive VR MMO is worse than real life. Full dive means that the person gets the full experience inside the game, like all the 5 senses, as realistic as possible. And when it said full dive, it really meant it, as you even feel when you hit your pinky in a chair. First things first, the main character goes by this new game, but the short on money, and finds the shady store with the shady lady. That seduces him into buying the full dive VR MMO called Kiwami, that apparently is 10 years old already and dying, but she shows him that the game is 20+ year olds recommended, and that she will play with him, so he's okay with buying it. But the game starts bad, making him accidentally kill a NPC and become a wanted guy and even getting hurt, which will take days to recover. And it will only get worse and worse. This anime is kinda interesting, gets your attention, and when you see the episode is already over. But it's really dark, I didn't expect that.
ベッド。
さあ、お楽しみの始まりっすよ。ね、開けていいっすよ。
はい。その拷問って無知ろうそく
獅子切断す。
So in the trailer I saw the ball was thrown in front of the train, and that he would revive. So I thought it was an isekai like many other animes nowadays. But no, Takemichi started remembering his life. However, it's not only memories, he actually went back in time and is reliving again. He forgot some things since he's 12 years in the past and he's back in school and all. Takemichi is in a school gang and remembers that his ex-girlfriend died in the present due to gang fights. So he has to change the past to save her, and he discovers a way to move between the present and the past. Yeah, at first it doesn't look like a good anime, but it turned out actually an okay anime, and got super hyped the last year. Yeah, this amazing manga got an anime, and I talked before, and it's a really unique anime, where the world got petrified for years, going back to the Stone Age, but this genius boy Saikou tries to recreate everything, trying to bring back the world he knew.
世界を取り戻してやる
Now this anime is strange and even a little creepy. The person are covered in dust, ashes or something. They are actually shadows as they are called, but they are physical. So as they can't see their face, they have living dolls like humans, to express the shadow's emotions. Each shadow has one, and the main shadow, Katie, has a cheerful clumsy girl called Mieruko. But it gets weirder when they leave the room for the first time. They end up meeting another shadow with her doll, but the doll kinda don't think or anything, just acts like the shadow does. Like the exact movements and expressions. That's super creepy. But when the dolls are alone, cleaning the big shadow family's house, they have their personalities. But it gets even weirder. If the ashes accumulates too much, sometimes they can turn into ghosts. Which are not really ghosts, it's those monsters. And they kill the dolls. By the way, the dolls have to eat, sleep, and can even get hurt. I don't know if they are really dolls, but everyone says they are. So we talked about the Nagatoro anime, where the girl keeps bullying the boy. This much more smooth school anime, where the girl bullies the main character. Just kidding, she just provokes him sometimes because she likes him. And at least she admits it to his face. Sueharu is this normal boy who likes the most beautiful girl in the class, called Kachi, because he saw her normal way of being. She usually acts tough and annoying in school, but she's not really like that. When he knows she's dating another guy, Abe, he cries and his childhood friend Kuroha convinces him to have a revenge on Kachi. So she proposes to Sueharu to pretend to date her, to make Kachi jealous, but he has another idea. He will act in a play to emulate Abe and conquer Kachi back. I feel a little bad for Kuroha, but she's really close to Sueharu and is not giving up so easily. This anime is actually a little more interesting than it looks. I need to watch more to decide if it's really good. The story starts with Neko in the middle of Shibuya Crossing, known as the most busy crossing in Japan. But no one is seeing him, and he passes by someone pretty much like a ghost, but he can read the person's mind. When suddenly some frog monster appears and who they attack disappears, and a girl comes to help, Shiki proposes an alliance, and when they do, they can use powers to fight. They suddenly have a mission in their phones and a time on their hand. After they complete the mission, they can go back to the real world, but Neko doesn't go. He just blinks and he's already on day 2, waking up in the middle of Shibuya Crossing again. Apparently, they have 7 days until it's finished, and he ends up making more friends too. Also, there are the Shinigamis, which seem like they can create those monsters. They are usually created from bad emotions of people, and they are like on a second plane of the real Shibuya Crossing, that's why no one can see them other monsters. The anime has bright colors and seems to have correlations to graffiti. So in the future, more like 2100 or something, the Republic of Sand Magnolia is at war with the neck-boring Gladian Empire's army called Legion. But they notify everyone that the war will end in 2 years because their drones are winning the war and there's no casualties. However, the main character Lena is an operator at the army of Saint Magnolia. The operator stays in contact and gives orders to the drones. The country is just happy because only drones are being destroyed, but she gets really mad because of it, like she knows. The drones are not really drones but soldiers, real people controlling the robots they use at the war. 86 is the name of the current region at war at the moment, and the strongest battalion is called Spearhead. They have those strange tanks with spider legs, and I'm not a fan of war animes, but at least the music during the fight was very good, giving me goosebumps. So I don't know anything about shamisen, the strange Japanese guitar, but the way they talk about it makes it really cool. The story is basically this boy Setsu that after his grandpa died, he decides to move to Tokyo to try to find himself, and ends up meeting a girl Yuna who helps him by letting him stay at her house. His grandpa made him promise to not play shamisen again until he knows what is his true sound. Even though he's really good, it seems like he keeps playing his grandpa's music instead of making his own, or at least that was what I understood. He meets Yuna's boyfriend, and out of nowhere he decides to open his show, playing shamisen, which even goes on television. The anime kinda portrays shamisen not as just a music, but the emotions it brings to you, the memories you have while listening. As I talked about this anime before, it's about this crazy world where a girl battles her emotions trying to realize her wishes with great animation and colorful sights. With lots of tears, happiness and friendship. Some parts you don't even know if it's reality or her dreams. It's really interesting and a must watch anime. You can check my video about the start of the anime here. This slice of life comedy anime is actually a reverse of the Sekai, where Jahy-Sama, the Lord of the Dark Realm, is isekai to other world but turns into a little kid and has to live a not so luxurious life until she can get all the energy gems and get her full magic powers back. She can turn herself into an adult for some time, but she's mostly stuck as a kid and searching for the power gems while working at a bar and living in a small apartment. This anime is actually better than the synopsis it has. When Ninomiya finally finds stability and doesn't have to work anymore, he gets teleported to another world, where everyone has to work almost as a slave collecting magic stones for big corporations. But he's not a normal guy, he gets friends and monsters to assist him, and always has some crazy schemes to turn his life around. It's comedy and it's actually much better than it looks. He even gets his card again when he finally finds his stability again. So the manga finally got an anime adaptation. It's really happy too. Komi-san is a girl who is too anxious to speak, but even so everyone thinks she's super beautiful, like the idol of the school, which always exists in school animes. The only person who starts speaking to her is Tadano, who says you'll help her making friends. It's a really wholesome anime, but with some misunderstandings which makes it a little funny. It aired on Netflix, and it's definitely one of the best animes of 2021. The world was attacked by monsters, but the only thing that attracts them is music, so the world stopped playing music altogether. Ironically or not, there were people with powers to fight these monsters called conductors and music arts, like a maestro leading a musician in a fight. This anime actually has some good fight scenes, in a really weird post-apocalyptic world that doesn't look that much apocalyptic, just strange. And you get to listen to some music sometimes because the main character is actually a musician and nothing more. I'm not exaggerating, even his friends say he's useless. No, this anime was really a surprise, I really enjoyed this one. This anime is a different type of horror, where Mieruko starts seeing ghosts, but they are really creepy and as if you can see them. Of course she pretends to not see them, trying her best to not show any emotion, but it's hard every time. Also her friend has a big aura, which attracts even more ghosts near them. It's not that scary of an anime, I really liked it and think everyone should give it a try. Okay, at first I thought this anime wasn't that good. A typical assassin with guns and all is the main character. And as the title suggests, he dies and gets reincarnated in another world, but he keeps his memories. Before reviving, the goddess says he has until the age 18 to get strong enough to defeat the hero, right after the hero defeats the Demon Lord. Because apparently, the hero will get so strong after defeating the Demon Lord that he will destroy the world, so someone has to stop him. Anyway, the boy discovers he can use magic and join an assassin family, so that really helps him in his growing and training. As a Sekai, he starts building his harem, and he discovers he can make any magic, but decides to make a rifle because why not? I had high hopes because it's another creation from Tsugumi Oba, who made Death Note and Bakuman. and you can see why it resembles a little Death Note. These divinities chose their humans to decide who will be the next god. The story is about 13 angels choosing 13 people, giving them powers like wings and magic arrows and make them battle. But when one person becomes god, all the others will lose their new powers. By the way, only the chosen ones can see the angels, so they can easily find the other chosen ones. And the main character can't see his angel in the reflex for some reason. Anyway, it could be a good anime, but the main character is lame, not that smart, doesn't get a strong will like Light and Death Note, and the story is not that thrilling, not that smart like Death Note, so I don't like it. Now, about the new season of animes, we have a couple animes I'd like to talk about. We have a second season of Zombieland Saga, and I enjoyed the anime more than I would think of. I'm not a fan of idols, I really don't know anything about them, but this anime is a little different. There's this city in Japan called Saga, and this crazy guy decides to revive idols from different times to create an ultimate group. And that group would be so famous that it would save Saga from being forgotten. But at first they have no memories, only acts like zombies, only the main character Sakura is awake. And their shows at the start are really crazy, but eventually almost all of them gets their memories back. There's also the second season of Tensura, the slime anime I talked before, and the remake of Shaman King, which is good, they've included much more of the manga story. There's also the second season of ReZero, third season of Log Horizon, new seasons of World Trigger, Cells at Work, Non-Beauty, Kobayashi-san, Megalobox, and even Madoka Magica. Also, we finally completed So I Am a Spider So What? And that's all about it. If you like this kind of video, please let me know in the comment section below. This was a really long video, but if you are still watching, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Mata né!